Whatever happened to fun, fake news? And I'm not talking about fooey-dooey Twitter articles or Instagram fitness hoaxes. I'm talking about good old newspaper stand fake news that when, back in the day, I'm sure they thought was real. When I was a kid, I remember being in line at the grocery store with my mom, and you would see the rack of magazines and newspapers there, and there was always a couple. They're the most heinous front pages. I mean, like, mutant girl gets burned with 1,000 cigarettes. Lake monster comes out as bisexual. Just extremely odd, where as a kid you can't really comprehend how fucking crazy that is. And I remember very vividly asking like my parents, like, what is this? What the hell is this? And they're like, don't, it's nothing, it's fake. And then I remember watching Men in Black, and at the end of that they're looking at the fake news tabloids and it's real. And I remember there for a while in my stupid young mind I was like, oh my god, it is real. But today I just wanted to talk about one of those magazines, the people who tighten this industry of weird entertainment, fake tabloid, mythology, horror newspapers, which of course I'm referring to Weekly World News. You've probably definitely seen the Weekly World News paper somehow. Have you ever read it? Absolutely not. But I feel like there for a while it was very, very popular. It kind of showed up in movies, television shows. People would talk about it. It kind of had this huge impact. And there's, of course, some of the more infamous covers that you probably have seen. But it's been kind of a treat getting to go back in and actually find out what this magazine is, because it seems like such a non-product. Like, who the fuck would want this? And I'm guessing that back in the day it had to have been conspiracy theorists. Looking at other alternative magazines, like even like Mad magazine or like National Lampoon's magazine, it's kind of comedy centric, right? It's appealing to a younger demographic. And then you have specialty magazines like Cigar Aficionado, Playboy, which people love the articles in those. But then you have Weekly World News, where it's like trying to give you legitimate stories as if they're real, but it's just some of the greasiest, weirdest things to ever come out. And I think that a lot of people wanted to believe in these things. I feel like it was the beginnings of a conspiracy theorist manifesto. But how did this magazine, this crazy magazine with so many kooky covers and colorful characters, how did it come to be? Well, Weekly World News was developed in 1979, and it came about from the National Enquirer. The National Enquirer owns Weekly World News, and the only reason that Weekly World News was ever made was because in like 1979, National Enquirer got a color printer, and they had so much black and white printing capacity that they're like, it would just be dumb if we didn't do anything with this. So they decided to make Weekly World News and be like, let's make conspiracy theories. Let's lie. It's entertainment. It's like, you could have done anything. What else could you have done with, like, I don't know, like local newspapers? It felt so weird that they're just like, I know exactly what we're gonna do. I want to know who's the asshole who was just like, I have an idea. Did you guys see that squirrel who had sex with that, he had sex with that Hostess cupcake and they had a kid together? One guy's in the room's like, oh my god, no, I didn't see that. He's like, that's what we could be printing in this magazine right here. In black and white, baby. Unlike other tabloids that focused on celebrity gossip, the World Weekly News was known for the outlandish, often supernatural or extraterrestrial themed stories. These stories were largely fictional or based on the thinnest veneer of truth, which is very funny that they're just like, we're going to run miles with the bare minimum of truth. Out of all these wacky scenarios, really the two most important ones I would say are Bat Boy and Elvis Presley, which is a bit of a weird dynamic there. You got the King of Rock and a weird mutant they found in a cave. I don't know. I feel like at least once people have seen the infamous Bat Boy. His face looks like this. I don't know. Bat Boy was first discovered in 1992. According to Weekly World News, he was found living in a cave in Lost World Caverns near Lewisburg, West Virginia. I mean, one of the best images ever. I like also how decadent the eyelashes are on Bat Boy. They like really did not hold any bar there. And I like how they have just one PNG of a bat on the top. Yeah, 92. Wow. How fucking awesome. The Bat Boy became an instant sensation. The story claimed that the creature was half boy, half bat, and had been living off insects inside the cave. You would immediately be like, okay, so the child's blind, but people were, you don't think about those things in the moment. His most recognizable feature are his large, bulbous eyes, sharp fangs, and pointy ears. He's often depicted with wide open mouth, as if he's screaming or singing. He's probably definitely screaming. I don't think there's a world where he's singing. I think Bat Boy is too traumatized by living in that cave for so long. Boy captured by explorers 2 miles underground. They find this bat child 2 miles underground. His giant eyes see in the dark, and his ears are better than radar, says scientist. You know what I like about this is that they say says scientist, and it's like there's no quotation. They're just like, It's not a real quote. We just, Bat Boy joins up. This is great. I thought he was going to bite my arm. I was a terrified youngster. Look at that deal. Yeah, Bat Boy's awesome. We got to get an issue of Weekly World News with this. After his initial discovery, Bat Boy became a reoccurring character in the Weekly World News, with the tabloid chronicling his various adventures. These range from escapades across the United States to interactions with famous personalities and involvement in major events. And one of those classic... Oh, my parents are here. One of the more infamous stories is, of course, when Bat Boy met the ever-horrifying Osama bin Laden. And this was around the 9/11 era, so that's kind of dicey. It's a bit of a dicey joke. In the story, Bat Boy had joined the military in the hunt for Osama bin Laden. The Weekly World News published an article claiming that Bat Boy had located the terrorist leader in his cave hideout. This was, of course, a fabrication, but it's an example of how the tabloid would often incorporate current events into fictional narratives. I think the thing, too, is they found him, they just never did anything. So I don't know. But, you know, Bat Boy was so popular that, I mean, it's extended the Weekly World News. It's kind of been all over the place. He's become a pop culture icon, referenced in various media, and even inspiring a musical. Bat Boy, the musical. Not a very inspired name, but is an off-Broadway production that tells a version of Bat Boy's story, blending humor, horror, and satire. Wholesome. He is the star. He's their shooting star. No one would deny it. Bat Boy is Weekly World News bread and butter. I'd say his face is as infamous as the Obey face, Shepard Fairey's Andre the Giant face. Which one's more? Probably Obey. I think Obey probably has probably a bit more reach than that. And then, of course, Elvis as well in this tabloid is a vital piece of having older and younger generations still flock to the paper to find out what is Elvis doing now, because my God, he's not dead. It's like weird. He had a like same kind of notoriety as like Hitler, where everyone was like, oh, Hitler's alive and living in Cuba or whatever. His first one was Elvis is alive. One of the reoccurring themes on Weekly World News was that Elvis Presley had not died in 1977, but had instead gone into hiding. The tabloid would publish exclusive photos and stories of Elvis being spotted in various locations, from supermarkets to remote islands. They would sometimes provide reasons why Elvis might have faked his own death, ranging from wanting to escape the pressures of fame to being part of a covert government operation. Kind of once again, the spectrum is very long and they're kind of playing both ends, but in typically World Weekly News fashion, there could be things where there's stories of Elvis meeting other celebrities while he's in hiding, or extraterrestrial beings and ghosts and ghouls. Elvis kind of just did it all, you know, and people were here for it. The idea that Elvis was still alive became a part of pop culture, in part due to Weekly World News' sensational stories. While most people recognize these tales as fictional or satirical, they added to the mystique and legend surrounding Elvis, because everybody liked Elvis, dude. He shaked his hips, he kissed women on stage, he died while he took a massive shit. People like Elvis. Elvis visits his new grandson 50 years after the king went into hiding. I'm going to teach him how to sing just like me, says Elvis Presley. He's 57. I'm going to teach him how to sing just like me. This woman saw Presley at Kalamazoo Burger King. Okay. I like this one. Elvis's tomb empty. He's like Christ. Elvis's tomb. The king in his coffin, but where is he now? Even years after this initial claims, the Weekly World News would occasionally bring back Elvis's alive narrative that remained a popular and enduring topic for their readership. They know how to please the fans. They're fan pleasers. It's good stuff. It's like clickbait before clickbait is essentially what this is. It's able to be on the shelf and have someone like they're just getting like a pack of juicy fruit and some cigarettes and they're just like looking at it and they're like, what the fuck? Oh my God, Elvis is alive. What the hell? They used Bigfoot all the time. I remember when I was a kid, one of the first ones I saw was like Sasquatch forced me to be his lover or something like that. Like that's like an infamous one too. But I very much remember seeing that and seeing the guide on the cover, and that like stayed with me. I like looked over at the magazine stand, just catching the eye, and the guy on the cover was just like, and I remember that stuck with me very much. I kind of like was looking at it almost like a caveman looking at fire for the first time. Bigfoot refuses to go to rehab. Bigfoot has a twin. Bigfoot back in the woods. Bigfoot hooker tells all. Bigfoot diet. I like that one a lot. A fat Bigfoot and then he's skinny. Pretty good. Yeah, I was Bigfoot's love slave. This was the first one I ever saw. This guy, it haunted me. Lumberjack's story of forbidden love will amaze you. Yeah. Imagine just being in like a grocery store in like Wisconsin and like just picking up some bread and you see that and you're just like, it's basically porn. Bigfoot versus aliens. Bigfoot's just holding an alien. Battle capture on home video. I like how it's just a random guy. Girl turns into beach ball after she inhales helium. Yeah, that's good. World's fattest man is missing. Have you seen this fat man? This is definitely a new one. What's interesting though is if you don't look at these newer ones, back in the day, there's really no way to even fact check anything because there's no internet back in the day. So I just have to imagine how many people believed all of these stories. I mean, it's pretty fucking amazing. I mean, some of these, I can see these people thinking that this is a legitimate thing. Chainsaw killer stalks girls' school. What a fucking horrifying thing to put on the front of a paper. I wonder how much people got paid. I wonder if there are people on salary writing these stories. You know, and they had other topics like religious claims, you know, woman gives birth to an angel baby, faces of Jesus and Satan seen over Texas, 500-foot tall Jesus visits UN. United Nations.
Well, this one's pretty funny because they're like, Adam and Eve's corpse has been found in Colorado. Then the next one's Adam and Eve found in Israel. Then Adam and Eve had a baby.
Adam and Eve had a baby. Tiny skeleton rests amid ancient bones in Adam and Eve's grave. Satan's skull found in New Mexico. Bible experts call it find of the century. Electrifying proof. The devil walked the earth as flesh and blood.
So the devil's dead then.
The devil's dead, so we should rejoice. Weekly World News just told us that. Like, it's all good, dude. No devil. He's dead. He's gone. First photos of heaven. This is so fucked up. There's gonna be some schizophrenic guy walking being like, what? Freaking out. Hero cop goes to heaven and back. Look at that page. I felt incredible happiness, says New York lawman who took bullet in the brain. UFOs are stealing our ozone layer. This is fucking awesome, dude. Got some mermen found. I love a nice merman. Oh, see, if I saw this back in the day, what is this, 2003? Even in 2003, if I was like my age now in 2003, I'd be like, oh my God, there could be thousands of them down there. Crazy. It reminds me of that one picture that was circulating where everyone thought that a guy in Iraq had this giant spider, but really it was a guy holding the spider in the foreground, and the guy was in the background looking like he was holding it, so the thing looked really big. Space probe finds dinosaur on Mars. Huge beasts are 40 foot long. I like how it's just an illustration too. It's just so good. Titanic survivors found, discovered living on an iceberg, which is a sick story, sick movie. Place your hand on Janet Jackson's miracle boob. That's uncalled for. That was an accident. Actually, people said that was scripted.
It was.
You think so?
Yeah.
How do you know? You sound like a really avid fucking weekly world news reader there, dude. Conspiracy theorists confirmed? Duck hunter shoots angel. That's awesome. World's oldest man, 130, weds. 130-year-old man gets married. It's never too late to tie the knot. Was Abraham Lincoln a woman? Osama captured by rednecks. And also, one of my favorites of this list has to be the cannibal tribe goes vegan. what a great, very good. Tongue-in-cheek stories, presented as serious, but obviously it's supposed to be funnier for entertainment. But it's presented in such a way where I just definitely know, and I know I've said this a billion times, but there's just no way people did not hook, line, and sinker believe all of this shit. But unfortunately, in 2007, Weekly World News ceased publication. Sad day. 2007. A bad year. Declining sales, the rise of the internet, and changes in the media landscape contributed to its end of the print format. But there was a digital revival. After the end of the print run, the Weekly World News continued in various digital formats. They maintained a website and has a presence on social media platforms. Over the years, there have been various attempts to revive or capitalize on the Weekly World News brand. And even in 2019, they successfully kickstarted a new era of Weekly World News, which now they have a website. It's a lot more like The Onion now, but it's impossible to say that The Onion didn't take influence from Weekly World News and National Lampoon's magazine and Mad Magazine and stuff. But I think the one thing with Weekly World News that stands out to me as being truly remarkable is that while Mad Magazine and National Lampoon's were so in your face with parody and like this is so absurdly a joke, I do feel like Weekly World News was trying to trick its audience. I think it wanted to elicit people to have that fun, clickbaitable reaction in real time. And I think they did so justifiably. I mean, even years later, decades later since I first saw it, I still think about some of those covers. I still think about some of the crazy nonsense that they posted. And granted, I'm an older and wiser man now, but I still see myself believing these stories back in the day. I believe it. I just wanted to bring up that I know that there's The Onion and there's forms of this still back in the day, but nothing will ever be the same as a physical print and something that's on a stand at a rack in some kind of obscure small town store or in some big city. The Weekly World News is something that I feel is, I wish there was something still like it in a weird way. A physical piece of media that people could kind of stumble upon. It was almost always like stumbling upon a clue or like the beginning of a quest in a weird way. And, you have articles that are fun and they're great. I love The Onion, but it's a relic from a different time. And if you haven't heard about it, I'm glad that I was the first person to tell you about it. And you should tell people that I'm the person that told you about it. Don't be that guy that says that you just kind of found out about it. Be sure and tell them where you saw it and provide the link. Provide the link, please. Thank you. That's all I got for you today. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.
What was your favorite item to get in the...
Oh, I stopped recording. Oops. Maybe just have Jonna do like a thing of like I don't know.